There should, listen, guys, there should be a good reason to ask for these pieces of information. And it's not held, it's not handled like an open records request, because you're not John Q. Public now. You're an elected official. You're a part of a board. You're entitled to have the information. But what I'm saying is it's a problem because you are requesting stuff that just seems to be all over the board. There doesn't seem to be any, reasonable reason that anybody can figure out of what you're doing. You're all over the place.
The Public Information Act.
No.
You have to provide a reason.
You're not the public.
You're not? Did you not hear what I said, Paul?
A request in writing matches a Public Information Act request.
Okay, I guess there's no reason in me trying to explain it to you because you will not listen. You have never listened. You're not John Q.
Are you
Public.
attacking me again?
I'm trying to educate you, sir.
If you have a solution, offer it.
I've already offered it. It needs to go through the board and not just Chip, okay? We know the deal. Everybody in this room knows the deal. It goes through Chip. It's going to happen just like it's been happening.
You knew the deal 2 weeks ago too, and you were wrong.
Excuse me?
You knew the deal 2 weeks ago too, when you were in a sworn petition to your court, and you were wrong.
Okay, I'm going to play your game. Point of order, Mr. President. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this.
I think we need to quit the crosstalk altogether. So,
I have a recommendation.
well, let's hear something positive instead of just griping.
How about anytime any of us board people want something from Ray, if he feels like he's under pressure, he should quickly say, okay, but it's not going to be right now.
No.
Go ahead and do whatever he needs to do. Certainly the last thing we need to do is try to interfere with what's going on.
I believe it should be a request from the board because if there's information needed for some reason, it should be needed by the board, not one board member himself.
Now keep in mind that when we first took office, we didn't, many of us, know that we had any bylaws until we started breaking when you reminded us. Then we found out, A, we had them, and B, how to get them.
Well, again, we're getting off
Sometimes
topic,
we don't know
but
everything
we all went
that's
to it.
going
We
on.
all went to an orientation where they gave us the bylaws. But I think we're back to the thing. This is not supposed to be an adversarial relationship.
Exactly.
We could all get together and work on running this hospital. It doesn't have to be, we need to request this information official in writing so we can get it written down so that someone can then put it somewhere else. We can work on this together. There's no reason why we can't. We're all grown-up people.
Well, let's start with Michael's suggestion, if you're okay with that, with Chip and I coming up with a time when we're going to meet on a regular basis, and then if you have requests, send those to Chip, and then we'll go through them. Some of it can be answered without having to produce a document. If there's a question here, or I don't know. What's our internet policy? That was the last one I got. Well, that can be answered. I can just tell Chip what it is, and he can pass it on. And it takes 15 seconds to do that, as opposed to having to produce a document, and scan it in and send it. So if that would be a start, let's do that. And we'll if you give me a note 2 or 3 days ahead of time, that's what topics you want to talk about. I mean, we'll be ready to do it, and we'll be ready to have the information, whatever information you want available, and we'll be ready to have a productive talk. Because there's nothing out there we're not willing to talk about.
I'm willing to work with Chip to make it easier.
Well, why don't somebody make what Ray said in the form of a motion, and then we'll give that a whirl and see if it works. If it don't, then we'll go back to the drawing board and figure out what does work.
We could just do it without a motion, and then if it doesn't work, come back next meeting and revisit it.
I'll get together, come up with a day, and we'll have a weekly meeting from now until the next board meeting, and we'll report back on whatever progress that we've been able to make at the weekly meetings. Is everybody okay with that?
It looks to me like that's a wise move.
And will those be included in the agenda so that all the board members are up to speed on it? Or would at that point we create an email and send it to the board? Well, that's what I'm saying, just so
It's a
that,
little more immediate, but
yeah.
email and summarize it, you know, we put that in the agenda so it can get released to the public then.
Right. And so I think we would send out an email the day before our meeting or whatever, saying, hey, is there something you want? Sure. Do you think? I mean,
Sure, I'll be happy to accumulate that.
yeah,
I'll be happy to accumulate that, that's.
I would just request that whatever is done in this vein, that there be a good reason for asking for the information, not asking for the information just to get the information. Okay, there should be a good reason. There's millions of pieces of information in this hospital. We don't need all of it. If there's a reason, the reason should be stated, and it should be given to everybody that this is the reason that it was requested, not just simply a request, you know, blank.
A suggestion?
Yes.
I understand what you're trying to do, and just from a person that works there, I will tell you that if my boss comes to me and says, I need X, I try to understand the background behind it, because in a healthcare environment, everything is not black and white. So for example, if you ask about a hospital internet policy, there's a difference in us accessing our systems through the internet and providers accessing it outside of the network. I'm just thinking that it would be more helpful if we could understand the background behind the request so that we can provide a better answer and give you exactly what you're needing. That's just a suggestion.
but I think if we do this verbal instead of email, that it's not going to necessarily be carved in stone. It'll be the give and take that you have when you have a face-to-face conversation versus it being something computer generated that sometimes seems always told to the point.
Absolutely agree, get very point. Okay.
I think what Ms. Price said, that it is very valid, you have to have a reason for it in the background.
Right. Right, so we're gonna give this a whirl. Right. So nobody's making a motion.
I just agree to work together with everybody and try to make it better.
Right. So
You know, I'm up to date on that.
Item 7 is skipped.